And so the journey continues. What's up, y'all? Boogie Knight here, and welcome back to the Dark Souls Lorethrough. We've accomplished a decent amount last time, but we are still in the Undead Burg. And before I start recording, I did actually take care of some of these mobs, just because, usually when things, usually when you start at that particular bonfire, things tend to get a little bit hairy right out of the gate, and I kind of wanted to take care of business before. That, and we also have fire bombs, and that was miraculously close. Let's go ahead and pull this guy back out here, kite him away. Now, going forward, this now is 100% blind. At least the gameplay part is. Once again, I do intend to examine as much lore as possible. I believe that actually does lead us back to Firelink. So I will continue to further my investigation of the lore of each individual area we go to, as well as examine the items. But as of right now, from a gameplay standpoint, we are now moving officially blind. So there will be a lot of exploration points. Watching out for ambushes, and so I'm sure there's going to be quite a few deaths as I go forward. But once again, this whole point of this lore through is to explore everything and look at every major possibility. Thank you to everybody that's left feedback and comments on previous entries. Particularly Harkov311, thank you so much for saying this has been good so far. And Silverleaf for enjoying what y'all have seen so far. I really do appreciate it. Please keep the comments coming. I do read all of them. I still think it's a little bit early in game to deal with. We got more black fire bombs. Excellent. What's the difference? Yeah, we have not explored what a black fire bomb is. We have regular fire bombs, which we've looked at in detail, but let's look at black fire bombs. A black bisque urn filled with black powder explodes, inflicting fire damage. Powerful ranged weapon, so that is interesting to see that we have two different options when it comes to bombing things. I guess that hollow is probably above us. Okay. We explore this area, and let's continue our journey through the Undead Burg. There'll probably be quite a few full clears between bonfires, but I know that our next bonfire is no longer in the Burg until we get to the next area. But I'll also continue to do some backtracking as well, because I do want to explore a little bit more backstory on the Undead Merchant. In the last entry we talked about a gigantic wall. Like I said, this is blind. Actually, there's a ladder there. Okay, so I think we need to go up there to kick it down. So we do have to cross this area. So we were on the right track, I just clearly missed the point. That happens quite often. Oh yeah, there's the outer staircase here. Better safe than sorry. Somebody's just hell-bent on... Well, that wasn't my intention, but okay, we'll go with it. Like I said, I will learn... Good Lord Almighty. Let's go ahead and quickly Estus up. Or just get a face full of flame, that's cool too. Down the stairs we go. I think we're... There we go. I know we are near a boss fight. I just don't know how far. So using the Master Key to get us into this little safe haven, that is good for now. And I think we can actually, from here... Well, that wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting a way to maybe kick down the ladder. But we do have gold pine resin. Now, this is very crucial for a lot of different things. Mainly this boss fight, which I believe is the Taurus Demon. I'll examine that gold pine resin in a few moments, because I kind of want to take down these missile units. Okay, so let's go ahead and kite him out. Trying to get an upper hand on him, but he's moving way too fast. Oh. We could have... That's where we like to see it. Catch him off guard. Oh, there's the ladder we can go to take down the archers. I know when we get up here, we're going to have even more. Or we can just go ahead and take a face full of fire. That's cool, too. I shouldn't look... There we go. Now let's kite him out. Or let's just... He'll continue to huck firebombs at us. Let's give him a second to de-aggro. Let's actually go over here for a moment. Where we have 2 shielded hollow. Or we're going to go up here. Is there anything on the stairs? No. I want to save my Estus for the boss fight. So I've never fought the boss before. I'm pretty sure that it is the Taurus demon, as the Undead Merchant so implied. Okay. So let's talk again about how I need to focus on conserving my Estus flasks. That's cool. But I hope y'all are really much enjoying this. I mean, it's not going to be just me loring for the entire episode, obviously, because not everything is going to tail me talking about everything, talking about the lore. But let's just take a moment and look over the edge of this rampart, all the way down the base of the cliff. There isn't anything down there as far as the eye can see, but since Lordran is basically... Sorry, Raven, that's... You need to work on some things. Like becoming human. So we're going to go up here, then I know I need to backtrack here. How do I know this? Because I've seen enough people, i.e. Northern Lion and Epic Name Bro, to immediately get pulverized by this exploding barrel. And we should be okay now. At some point, I really do need to work on my riposte, but we'll work on that. So let's look really quickly at the gold pine resin, and I'll explain that in more detail. We also have throwing knives, pretty simple. We could use those to kite out enemies and aggro them one by one. But here we go. Gold pine resin is a rare pine resin that emits golden sparks, applies lightning to right-hand weapon. Affected weapon inflicts rare lightning damage, making it effective against targets which are resilient to both magic and fire. And it also says very good, useful against dragon foes. But our first order of business, I believe, is up the staircase. I don't think I should have done that. Okay, now I know where we're going. We're going to go ahead and beat feet up here, because I believe through that door is Havel. And Havel is not a nice mini-boss. It's not an official boss according to lore standards, but he also procures a very, very good weapon known as Havel's Ring, I believe, and then there's also Havel's hammer. I don't remember exactly what the official title is, but usually people, seasoned veterans of this game, talk a lot about Havel. Now, before we go across here, there is one other thing we need to do, because at the top of this ladder there are archers. How do I know that? Well, once again, I've seen enough playthroughs to know, and they will make your life pretty miserable. Before taking on the Taurus demon. Weakness, head, okay. Be prepared for a lot of these messages to say, to say kind of cheeky things. The running gag in the Souls lore is amazing chest ahead. So now, as we descend the ladder, before we go any further to fight our first boss, we are going to arm ourselves with some gold pine resin. And now we become a Jedi. That doesn't... the gold pine resin only lasts for a few minutes. And now we have our first boss, the Tars Demon. Much like the Undead Asylum Demon. But you can see right out of the gate about how much the gold pine resin deals damage against him. Nope. Okay, I deserve that one. But we managed to miraculously kill him in the first time. We didn't lose too much Estus, that's good. We received humanity and a homeward bone. Be prepared to see homeward bones popping up for most boss battles, from what I've gathered. I could be wrong. But the Tars Demon, not too bad for basically a non-tutorial boss fight. And from here, we proceed onward. Now, this is a doorway we can use. Never mind, I take it back. Okay, the Master Key will not work on that. First, let's take a moment to admire the view of the cliffside. And Lordran as a whole. High above the clouds does Lordran sit precariously on a cliffside. With lower towns and lower air vistas, as far as the eye can see. Was it Gwyn's intention to place it at the edge of the world, much like the Ringed City in Dark Souls 3? Now, once again, I'm not trying to mix lores too much, but it is... Was it Dark Souls 3 that the Ringed City? I believe it is Dark Souls 3. Yes, I believe it is Dark Souls 3. The Ringed City was actually an area at the edge of the world that Lord Gwyn gifted the Verdant Pygmy and all pygmies after him. So there always seems to be this jutting at the edge of the world concept. But enough about admiring the view. Let's go ahead and talk to this character right here. And this is Solaire of Astora.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. Do you find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
Now, Solaire dropped a very important piece of information, saying he's an adherent to the Lord of Sunlight. Now, this could go in any form or fashion, but what a lot of fan theories say is that Solaire is a possible descendant of Lord Gwyn. And now that he's undead, he can fulfill the promise of finding his own son. Whether that means his own identity, his own personal gain, it remains to be seen. But Solaire is a character we'll run into frequently. Yet he's another Astora, which, like Oscar in the Undead Asylum and Anastasia, maybe that means that before Gwyn came to Lordran, he was also from Astora. But let's see what else he can say to us for now.
Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment.
Of course.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey?
This is key. If we say yes, he will give us the opportunity to pull up his summon sign at boss fights. Now, I don't know where the summon signs are, but usually they're around the fog wall or the white lights prior to the boss battles, as they are in most Souls games. If you say no, we won't have that opportunity. So, of course, you need to have that opportunity to possibly, if it's your thing, summon NPCs.
This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this.
And we are given the white sign stone, which is what we can use in turn to be summoned by other character players in the game to help out in boss battles. And I'll explain that in just another moment.
We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
Now, this is incredibly fascinating from what he just said. He's talking about how time ebbs and flows between dimensions of Lordran. And this fascinates me, his words about it, because for an undead, he has so much information regarding... He fully admits to the fact that we can be summoned at will by traversing different dimensions, and it ties into the characters. For example, I could be summoned to another area. Let's say I get summoned back to Undead Burg to fight the Taurus team by leaving my summon sign there. He's admitting that Lordran is shifting around on itself, and we have the ability as undead to pop in and out of other versions of Lordran. So the Lordran I'm in, that Raven Renegade is in right now, could be different from Solaire's Lordran in a matter of minutes or hours. And that's just, I find that really cool, actually, because usually in a lot of games it's like, okay, you get summoned, boom, there's no real explanation. But here he talks about dimension hopping. And once again, I don't want to keep mixing Souls games, but maybe that was Miyazaki's intention in Dark Souls 3 when he talks about the transitory lands of Lothric, are lands that are, or the Lords of Cinder are, are falling in and colliding with each other, forming Lothric, which is why you see certain aspects of previous Souls games in Lothric. So, is the Age of Fire like the Dark Tower from Stephen King? It holds these worlds together, and by bringing about the Age of Darkness, worlds will collapse, and the coming of mankind will signal maybe a one static plane of existence? It's just something to think about. I'm completely extrapolating at this point, but let's see if Solaire has anything else to say.
Oh, hello there. I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
Now, this is a little bit disturbing for me personally, being obsessed with this body. It ties back into him saying how he's an adherent to the Lord of Sunlight, i.e. Gwyn. And I know this area from what I've seen or heard. That was not what I wanted to do. Okay. Death number 1. That's okay. Let's go ahead and get back to where we started. Or we can just die again. That's cool too. So we have now officially lost all the souls that we had gained from including the Taurus demon. Once again, we're still early enough in the game. I'm not too perturbed by this. I mean, I didn't see how many souls we gained from the Taurus demon, but I'm not too vexed. In addition, we also have the ability to deal with the firebomb hollows That gave us a fistful of rage. Let's not tilt really just yet. Let's focus. We almost got a riposte in. That's cool. Or you can go ahead and chuck an Estus, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to take you down anyway. We should get a key at some... Never mind. Doors that open from this side. That's probably not what takes us back to Firelink, now that I think about it from a geographical standpoint. But I don't think Miyazaki had intended for things to be geometrically and geographically proper. We're getting our souls back slowly. Once again, it is what it is in the Souls game. I'm not going to get stressed out about losing a boss soul. I am going to be perturbed, though, about... dying to a few hollow. That was my fault. There we go. Things happen for a reason. Go up here and take care of this archer really quickly. And then we get back to where we we started from. It's kind of a shame that we don't have the opportunity to take Estus from the Fallen hollows that chug Estus on a regular basis. Thought we were going to get ambushed for a moment. Ooh, that was a nice little... Oh, you jerk. Well, there we go. Are we going to get ambushed again by the blowing up barrel? Nope. That's good for us. So we didn't lose much time, we didn't lose much space. But coming up in the next section of the Undead Burg is when things will definitely heat up. Where there is a boss battle that... we did not explore... Oh, no, we did explore this area. And I think through that door is what takes us to Havel. So we are definitely going to go gloss over that. And I'll explain more about Havel in the next episode. But what I want to do really quickly is I want to get to the next bonfire and we can start exploring the upper undead area. Now, luckily, bosses don't respawn. Ooh, we did a nice little leap attack. Call me impressed. I'm getting a little antsy. I apologize. There we go. We are close to a bonfire. But one thing I do want to talk about is the gigantic drake that we saw flying overhead. Now, that is a mini-boss, but there is the opportunity in-game to cut off his tail and use it as a weapon. I forget the dragon's name, so I'll do some research between episodes, and then I can give you more info next time we convene for this journey. I'm not going to stop just yet. I've only been playing for about 30 minutes or so, but I do... The key we use to get through this door, we can only be held by the next boss, which I believe is the Capra Demon. And he will give us that, and this key leads to lower Undead Burg, and in turn, the depths, and thus into Blighttown, where the next Bell of Awakening is. But we also, as we wait for these hollows to come around here, this is definitely, you can see the walls of Lordran far high, and then there's the Undead Church. Now that, in turn, will lead us to the bonfire, which we can take, or the bonfire, well, there is a bonfire there, but in turn, the elevator, which will take us back to Firelink Shrine. And then we can go back to what I think we will do next episode, provided I don't die by the Drake, is... what I will do next episode... if you all want to see me get the Drake Sword... If you all want to see me get the Drake Sword, let me know in the comments below. And then I will go back to... Once we can find a means of mitigating... Hang on, I apologize. If y'all want to see me get the Drake Sword, I will not do it on camera. Because it will take a time. It will take some time, it will take some effort. And I'll explain how to do that next episode. Our first course of business is to deal with this guy. And then try not to die on the way to... I don't think we're going to manage. See, he was supposed to do that prior. And scorch everything, but I can still break that pace. But I guess you're supposed to trigger him. Anyway, let's do this again a third time. I think we're just going to go ahead and speed run. Recklessly, I might add. I would be curious to see how long enemies aggro. This was probably a bad idea. This is a very bad idea. It's okay. See? They're still following me. I mean, I could kite them for souls. Particularly since I'm probably not going to get any of my souls back from the Drake Bridge, as it's now going to be called. But that's okay. They're still coming. And there he goes. So... yeah, the Hollows definitely are aggressive bunch. But whatever, we're good, we're fine. So let's... anyways, the way to lose the Drake's tail is to basically shoot at it with a bow and arrow quite a few times. I'm not sure how many times. And then it drops off. And then you can use it as a weapon. Now, it's got a pretty low repair rate. But it's pretty also essential early in game. In fact, it's often recommended to use the Drake Sword on Havel. Now, I know what you're thinking is, why don't we just explore this area while we wait? I don't really want to do that. Because down here, there's other stuff that we need to do, and my primary thing that I want to do tonight is get to the bonfire, which is just across this bridge. I don't know how you did that, but okay, we'll go with it. You're landing on me. And there go our souls again. We're getting reckless. I think what we're going to try and do is just do a speed run across the bridge, because literally I know the bonfire is right across the Drake Bridge. But recklessness doesn't really seem to be my style. And that's okay. So let's just try this one more time. And this will also give us more time to deal with maybe the firebombing hollows, which I've neglected yet again. I mean, I promised Orin that if I hit a certain cap in subscribers to YouTube, I would do an Oolisil speed run. But once again, I am not Marcus, also known as Epic Name Bro. I am not Northern Lion. I do not have Holloway or Waste. I do not have the skills to do a speed run, but a promise is a promise. So we'll see about doing a Boogie Night speeds. If we hit the goal. Now, you probably notice in the upper left-hand corner, no longer says 0-1. Now, that just means that if I went back to a bonfire and then kindled it, or not kindled it, if I went to a bonfire and used the reverse hollowing option, then I would become human, and then I could be summoned, but I could also be invaded by other characters. Oh, I still need to talk about the white soapstone. Let me just take these dudes out really quickly, and then we'll look at that item in detail. Let's kite this guy out, and then you have Spearman. Spearman I am least fond of out of the hollows. But then again, it's because my speed is not as good. And they have the tower shields. You know what? We're just going to go ahead and 23 skidoo on out of here. I want to keep my Estus for the Drake Bridge. I'm not sure. I could have sworn that by starting to cross the bridge, the Drake would open fire and the hollows would be completely destroyed. Actually, we're going to try something as an experiment really quickly. There might be a way that if we go down that one ledge area, we might be able to take a swipe at his tail, and then he will leave us alone. I could be... I'm probably wrong. But first, let's go ahead and kite this guy long enough back over here. So, how have y'all been enjoying this so far? I really would be curious to know, am I moving too slowly? You know, am I moving too quickly? Am I leaving stuff off? Once again, the soapstone. Give me 1 second to kite past this guy. Go down the stairs. And then I think we should be okay. At least we got our bloodstain back. I think by going here, around the corner here. Okay, I think this is good. But we have a hollow here on the bridge. A spear hollow. Not a fan about that. That was close too. So the spear hollow, we really come to my playing field. Or we can just knock you off. That works too. I'd say see you in hell, but I'm pretty sure we're already there. This might actually be a way to bypass the Drake. Or we deal with some rats. No, no, no. You will not poison me. And I'm poisoned. You're a vicious dude, aren't you? Ah. This might be our saving grace. After we Estus again. Okay, so soapstone. Let's... No, we can't do that right now. We need to finish. We need to get to the bonfire. Which, to do that... Okay, I remember now. We need to activate something. Which will in turn open the portcullis. I think. Now, there's got to be another way, but we need to also get away from that gigantic wild boar. So we got the right idea. Okay, so by crossing under that, let's do this again. We're making progress, but I think my downfall was getting poisoned by the rats. Alright, so we're going to kill this guy, and now we're going to look at the soapstone. Actually, no, because we have the firebombing dude. So let's run back in here, and now we can look at the soapstone. I might actually put that as my description. Read the bloody soapstone. Online play item. This game is just determined for me not to read the description of the soapstone. Wow. I am just not having a good night, y'all. I apologize. We're gonna try this one more time. One final time. I don't think we're going to make it. I think the purpose of this entry is we're just going to get to the bonfire. I think that's all we can ask for right now, is to get to that bonfire. I apologize if my gameplay is a little slower than some people's liking. But once again, the whole point of this is to explore each area and talk about the lore. So if this is, once again, as I've said in previous episodes, if this is not for you, and you just want the full-on playthrough, I highly suggest somebody like Lorethrough to kind of just go around and just gank stuff. I'm gonna duck back in here. I know some people definitely say I should be working on my riposte and my parries and whatnot, but probably going to do that off camera. Please let me know if y'all want to see the Drake sword in action, and I will get caught up into my ass in the blood. I will go back to the Undead Merchant, get a bow and arrow, and take on the Drake as much as possible. I'm thinking I might already have a bow. I could. I probably don't, though. No, don't come up here, both of y'all. There it is. Nope. I can go for... There we go. I was gonna say, if I could go for a backstab, that would be brilliant. Okay. We take this guy on, and then we finish reading the soapstone. Okay, here we go. White sign soapstone. Be summoned to another world as a phantom through your sign and defeat the area boss to acquire humanity. Hollows cannot conduct summons. In Lordran, the flow of time is distorted, and the white sign soapstone allows undead to assist one another. This is the exact same thing that Solaire talked about. Lordran, in its current state of the Age of Fire leaving and dwindling, time itself is becoming unhinged. And I think that's a brilliant way for Miyazaki and FromSoft to explain the art of being summoned. So I think this is going to be our last attempt to get to the portcullis, or the bonfire. We can open the portcullis through some sort of back-handed way, but I know I've seen E and B basically kite the dragon into attacking at the hollow, and then promptly, once each fire burst goes away, he then offs it. We're in better shape than we were last time, and we now know what rats are lurking about. But if you stand here, well, in the presence of the tail, and then shoot at it, it will come on, take a step back. And we finally get our first backstab. See, there we go. So, see the tail somewhere. The dragon? Nope, he's still up there. If you shoot the... Do we have a bow and arrow? I don't know, actually. Okay, we don't. So, once again, if y'all want to see that happen, I will go back to the Undead Merchant and buy a bow and arrow and do it off camera, so I don't waste y'all's time. Now we're gonna wait for a second for our toxicity to go down before we make the run back to Portcullis. We know there's 3 rats. Maybe if I can kite them out here. Let the toxicity go. I only have 2 S's left, so I've got to be careful not to get poisoned. I don't know why that one gave me such a hard time last time. But then again, it's Dark Souls. Now, if I have an alluring skull, I don't know if I have that in my inventory. We can use that on the wild animal. Now, I talked about this already once before. Alluring skulls are basically like things that basically intoxicate, like catnip, for a lot of different creatures. It's not... You can't use it on everybody. But I know it's worked on non-bosses. In fact, it might work on some bosses, but I'm probably wrong. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh. You know what, y'all? I've been playing for about an hour almost, about 45 minutes. And it's clear that I have died multiple times. We are not going to make it to the bonfire tonight. But then again, I don't expect to go to the bonfire every single bloody time in every single episode. So I think this is probably as good of a place as any to call it a session. It's been a full day for yours truly. But once again, I hope y'all like what you've seen so far. Please let me know any kind of feedback in the comments below. I really do read everything, and I try to respond to each and every one of them. And I appreciate your continued support with this journey. So, of course, with that being said, before I call it a night, if you like the Boogie Night Project and you want to find out more, I do have a Twitter page as well as a public Discord channel, and links to both of those are in the description below, as well as a link to my temporarily defunct Twitch page, and if you're so morbidly inclined, my Patreon account. So otherwise, I hope you all have a fantastic evening, and I'll catch you on the flip side, alright? Peace.